Hi everyone, Michael from Pixeesoft here. Welcome to the second stand-up in this 7-day sprint. We have some issues and we need to talk about them. Pun not really intended. We'll go through the Scrum board and address some roadblocks. On this channel, we talk about software development, agile, and everything in between. So if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next video in the series. So, yesterday we defined our goal: containerize the authentication service and connect a MySQL database to it. Also, create a Git repository for it. Looks straightforward, but wasn't. I hit the wall, bounced back, and still haven't really recovered for another run. So what happened? Well, I encountered some blocking issues. The GUI for the authentication service is in a separate repository I cannot access. Additional server tools needed for running the service are also in another repository I cannot access. The authentication service has a hard dependency to an internal CRM tool. That MySQL database, it runs on the same machine as the service does. Last but not least, I don't have access to the production machine to check certain configurations. So what did I do? Well, I did create that Git repository. No, in all seriousness, when an issue needs an input from another person, you have a blocker you need to address. And while you can solve almost all issues with technology, when there is a human input, you might not be as swift as you would desire. Simply because the other person might have a lot of work to do and not necessarily have the time to help you by simply abandoning everything they were working on. Fortunately, I reached out and will gain access to the repositories today, which is only one day later. But what needs to be done first is a revision of the tasks at hand. The planning itself was clearly insufficient, and so I need to reflect that on the Scrum board. Now, this is simply a teething problem. Not enough data and/or analysis of the system, which resulted in miscalculated planning. When this happens to you, you mustn't kick yourself for it. These things happen. Life gets in the way, computer sets on fire, you type Google into Google. But that shouldn't let you down. Sit down, reiterate, reevaluate, and get back to work. There's stuff that needs to be done. So, there is the updated board. As you can see, I added the roadblocks mentioned before. I also added the issue for testing how much of a dependency the CRM tool actually is, if it will simply fail silently or actually not work at all. I don't need to remove the issue regarding the database, it still needs to be done. It will just be deployed on the same machine, at least for now. Also, I have increased the value of containerizing the auth service to large, as there is a lot to be configured in the container in order for the service to actually start running. It's basically developed as a full monolith. Everything on the same machine, backend code, database, and the GUI. It will obviously go through a major overhaul, but that will come once the migration itself is done and the system is running on cloud. Another issue added is the access to the production machine. Now, this is a slippery slope. Be careful. You don't want to tinker with the production machines, unless you're 100% certain. Even then, you shouldn't really play around for too long. I simply want to log in, turn on Midnight Commander, check the folder structure, and promptly leave again. I should have the access by the end of the week. So that's all for the stand-up, and I'll check in with you tomorrow on our next daily scrum. But let's hear from you now. What are your roadblocks? How do you go about resolving them during the sprint? Let me know in the comment section below. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow.